on, Arcee, let's go!
But Hot Rod and Cup are still outside the city.
We can't wait!
Welcome back to the Titanium Hanger. This is Mike, and today I'm going to talk to you about the NewAge GGID Girls Get It Done Maschinenmensch. This is their take on a very G1-esque Legend scale Arcee, and we're going to talk about her. We're going to talk about how good she is, the good and the bad, the pluses and minuses, but I did get this to show Z. I'm going to have a link down below where you can get yours, and in my opinion, from all the pictures I've seen, this is the one I like the most. That's why I ordered this one. So we're going to talk about the good and the bad and the pluses and the minuses coming up, but it's actually pretty good. Let's check her out. Coming up! Alright, so here's the packaging. A little bit reminiscent of G1 in a way, but for the most part, pretty good for NewAge. Got a nice picture on the back there, kind of action pose, kind of stuff what's going on. Gets the job done. Not super duper retro, but still looks okay. Alright, so she is shipped and packaged in her alt mode, and I do want to point out that ShowZ does send these stickers again. So I mentioned that they don't send the stickers, like they did it for a while and they stopped. Now they send them again, and it's a card. So that's kind of cool. So I want to shout out to ShowZ on that one. But this thing is pretty cool looking. I was a little surprised. It seems to be very well painted. It's got a nice shine and sheen to it, so like a lot of that pink is painted on it. And I'm not sure about, yeah, that white part there is painted. So quite a nice presentation to it. You do have to put these hands on, and it's shipped in alt mode with no hands. So I don't really see that the hands do too much to stop it. Well, it doesn't really roll that well at all, but I don't think that the hands would have any difference on whether it would roll or cause any friction or anything like that. But I do want to say overall it's a pretty good design, and I like the way they did this, except it makes more sense that it would have been nice if the seats would have been flush with this piece, and it would have looked a lot better, So I might mess around with it and see if I could like manipulate it to where it kind of has that look, because I know it wasn't designed for that, but it should have, in my opinion, mirrored this, because the seats are just a little bit too far forward. Maybe it's more realistic, but it's not a realistic car. It just doesn't really match the aesthetic, in my opinion, as well. Everything looks good except that little section there, and there's a lot of line gappage and all that kind of stuff because of the fact that it has, well, because that's transform and all that. The windshield's kind of small. It is kind of narrow, but yeah, it does look good though overall. I mean, I'm kind of nitpicking on it, and I'm not gonna have it in alt mode probably ever again, because I don't really do too much with alt mode with these. But let's go ahead and see what it looks like in comparison real quick to some others. Here she is in comparison to what I think is one of the best alt modes yet, and that was a Hasbro one, the Hasbro, and it's this is the KO oversize of the 30th anniversary Arcee. I think it looks fantastic, and so you can kind of tell like it's not quite matching 100%, but it does look pretty good. It kind of captures the spirit, you know. Here she is alongside some others. We've got Magic Square. This thing's getting a reissue with like a metallic, I think. Magic Square, NewAge, NewAge, Iron Factory. Okay, obviously you have to engineer things to do things that you want them to, but I was kind of thinking if they had the feet flush, and this is just what I was thinking, if they were to design it with the feet flush, it would look a little bit better in my opinion. You know, just kind of would match the aesthetic that I would kind of expect a little bit better if they would have engineered it with the feet to be flush. I mean, I don't really think it would be that hard to do. But anyway, let's move on to the transformation. All right, so getting into this transformation, there's a lot of cool things that they did with it. Let's sort of split that. We're going to, it's like these tab into there, which is interesting. Like the waist splits and then the feet tab into there. So we bring the legs down, we rotate the feet around, and then we're going to disconnect all of this stuff. Then you kind of rotate all of this whole section here backwards, which is kind of interesting how that works. So on this mechanism, and I'm kind of concerned because of the clear plastic right here. So as you rotate this back, you kind of push these pieces here in, and then you're going to slide. This is a slider here, so slide this, and then this is going to fold over, and then this folds around, and we already have the backpack in order working. So kind of the same thing on the other side. Where's the slider? There's the slider. So you're going to slide it and flip this around. That's probably the best way to do the backpack. So kind of lift these arms up, and we need to rotate the torso around. So let's see here. Get the head out of the way, lift this up, and rotate the torso. Can be a little bit tricky, I guess. And then, so then we have this whole section here, which is going to do some interesting types of rotation. We need to take this nose piece and fold it in here to the back, and then we're going to fold all of this down on itself, and then we have to fix her head like so and get her aligned just right. So let's see about all of that. And then we got our backpack. Came apart a little bit, but let's get it positioned properly, then get her arms positioned and her face put in just right. And I guess I'm going to do a little bit of cleanup on her, but that's pretty much about it. Get the hands in there, right? Make sure I put the right hands on the right side, because, yeah, I think I got the hands on the wrong side, but I'll get that cleaned up, fixed up. We'll come back, have a look at her. Little tab here needs to go to the back. A couple of minor issues, like the feet need to get slid and closed and all that kind of stuff. Okay, so here she is in her robot mode. I've tried to maneuver the lighting around so it's just not so bright and not so reflective, but she does look pretty good in the robot mode. So I do want to say a few things. First of all, like in the transformation, her waist kind of, this part here pops up and down, and I didn't show that collapse in. It just kind of collapsed in on its own. And with that, there's a couple of options you can use in the back here. So with this fin, like you could have the standard part of the transformation is supposed to be around like that, but you could tuck it around the back and just kind of keep it on the back, and it looks a little bit better, I think. And then of course we have this connector piece, which I think they should just not have engineered that in at all. I don't think that really helps the alt mode too much. I mean, it helps it a little bit, but I don't think they really needed it, because there's all those other tabs. Because you do tab into a different part of the leg right here. That holds it all together, so I don't really think they needed that. But anyhow, those are some small nitpicks. This is the best Legends Arcee by far, so far. And I've got them all, so I think I've got them all. She is pretty stable of a bot. You just kind of get her in the right pose and stand and all that kind of stuff. I mean, the very first one that came out had to have a stand, or it wouldn't stand at all. The one that was like DX9 or something like that. So let's see what all we can say about her. So her face, let's get it zoomed in. Face looks pretty good. Now there's another alternate face I'll show here in just a second. And then going down, from the front, her backpack looks pretty clean. It's probably one of the best options out there, and even rivals Masterpiece. Well, definitely rivals Masterpiece. We got some nice paint apps here, and like some micro paint apps down there on the waist area, and so that looks pretty good. And I don't know, I kind of feel like sometimes I get this waist out of alignment. Just popped out of alignment trying to transform it, but that's how it should look. Anyway, going down further, you got paint, like I think the gray's painted, the pink's painted, and the whites are painted. I don't think this part of white is, but the rest of the legs are. So just really a very premium looking figure for being so small, but she's actually, for Legends and for NewAge, she's a pretty good size. I think she'll fit in just fine with the Magic Square and all that kind of stuff, and the legs, all of them. From the back, she is still pretty clean, aside from the little peg hanging off there. And then, since I don't have this all the way over to hold it in, that this is not held in as well. See, this is supposed to hold the backpack together, and I have it tucked to the back, so it looks a little bit cooler, a little bit better, a little bit less kibbly from the front angle. But still, I mean, that's a pretty good backpack on a transforming Arcee. So not bad. And she's packing it pretty good from behind. And so with that, let's go ahead and take a look at some more of the accessories. She comes with a head that has a visor. If you want that, I'm not going to bother putting it on. It looks cool. It looks cool, but I'm going to keep her just looking like a standard one. And then she has this sniper rifle like she usually does. I think one of them is called, one of the different iterations of her is called Sniper. So it's a pretty cool sniper rifle. She holds it. She can do so. It's got some paint on it too. Then she also has these other hands if you want to like have an open splayed hand or something. I display my RCs with 2 guns. If I have the opportunity to, I display her with 2 guns almost always. I wish there was a place to store the rifle. So there probably is, and I'm just not seeing it. Like maybe right in here. Maybe it can store right in there. I don't know. But she also has these 2 smaller guns, which is kind of typical what you'd expect with an RC. And for whatever reason, I keep getting stuck on the fact that she has 2 of the same exact gun. But I'm okay with this. I'm okay with this the way it is. But yeah, it looks pretty cool. Here she is holding her gun and her sniper rifle. So really, I couldn't find any place that this would connect. And see, if you look at this, the small one here has like a side piece, like it would be like a hip holster kind of thing. It would be kind of cool. I don't know if I'm showing that very well. Looks like a hip holster type of tab on it. And I don't see that anywhere. And nothing, this tab actually doesn't work for anything either. That's like a connecting tab for transformation. But it would have been cool if you could have plugged these in and stored them somewhere. But overall, nice looking bot, nice looking weapons. Gets the job done. All right, taking a look at the articulation. The head is on a ball joint, so it's up and down. I keep pushing her head up because it's part of the transformation. Sort of don't like that, but it's not a big deal. But yeah, you can get everything out of it you need. Shoulders all the way around on the ball joint. You do have bicep swivel, double jointed elbow, and your hand is just a giant hole. Or if you want your hand to be one of these, you can have your hand to be one of those. Okay, so you do have the waist swivel and a Magic Square Extreme ab crunch on the hips all the way out to the side, only that forward, and then you have the thigh swivel, and so the legs have some crazy stuff going on because of the transformation, but you do have the 90 at the knee, which is really good. You do have the shin splint going on there. It's shin split that goes on right there, but you also have ankles work. They get the job done, and they are pretty tight. I like that. Now, you can slide the foot, which is for transformation, but that doesn't really do anything for articulation. So she's pretty well articulated. Pretty much everything you would need for some like ninja poses. Or if she wants to do a little sniping. Yeah, she can be a sniper. Alright, so this is too much pink. Let's get that box out of the way. Comparing her to all the other RC options that are out there, I want to say she is the best on the market, in my opinion. But the other ones aren't horrible. So the DX9 is so old. Like, this thing's like, I think we're at 6 years, maybe 7 years since that thing came out. So you got to think, what's happened in 6 and 7 years? And then this one came out from the McFans Toys, and I think Dr. Wu McFans Toys combo or something on that, and it wasn't bad. But a lot of people said, oh, I'm gonna wait for the NewAge. Like people say, wait for the Fans Toys. Yeah, I do think the NewAge is the best. So, I mean, I don't think that if you have any of the other options and you're happy with them, I don't really see that you'd have to upgrade. But it's such a good price too. It's not really all that expensive. Here they are from the back, and as you can see, these are just like giant backpacks that are just more like hoods folded over, and then this, it all folds up into it. This is actually kind of more like the Fans Toys transformation, where it folds into 2 segments versus folding up on the back. But from the back, it's okay. It looks good. I think that overall, yeah, it does the job. Okay, so here she is with Magic Square's 1.0 painted Prime, and then their own take, the NewAge Grimlock. I'm still shocked how big NewAge made their Grimlock. They're stepping up their game, like going big. And a great looking 1986 movie cast. If you're collecting Legends, then you're going to see, okay, DX9 Blur, which is now too small. The KO Oversize of the DX9 Cup, which I don't think these have been remade by NewAge or Magic Square. Then we have McFans Toys 1.0, Magic Square Optimus Prime inside of the Magic Square armor. Looks pretty good. Fits in with all the different companies. I think she'll fit in with pretty much any Legends display very well. Alright, so what do I think about this figure? I think she's great. The best RC they've made for Legends scale so far. And there's some pretty good ones out there. With the McFans Toys, and the DX9 one was not horrible. A lot of people hated it, but I thought it was a pretty good first attempt for many, many years ago. But this is not perfect. they got this strange little tab in here, and the way the thing goes on the back for the fin, and then, of course, the way the seats are positioned in the alt mode. So those are my three real complaints about it, but they're very minor in the grand scheme of things because she looks really good. She looked fantastic on my shelf, and that's really what I want her for. But I did get this at Shozy. I'm going to have a link down below where you can get yours. And I got to say, when it comes to NewAge, they probably reissue a whole bunch of different colors and iterations, but I think this one, this specifically, is probably the best one, in my opinion. But we'll see what other strange color combinations come out in the future. Let me know what you think about this in the comments below. Like and subscribe. Teddy Hanger out.
They'll have to take care of themselves. Come on! Come on, Arcee! We gotta get this launcher into place!